Hello guys, welcome to the 3D market commentary for today. Let me just get the disclaimers up there. There they are on the top left hand side of the screen. Please read them. You can pause the video if you need to be able to read them all, and it might be distracting as I'm talking. Now, if you haven't joined us for a 3D market commentary before, my name is Becky. My email address is here. It's becky@tradewithufos.com. There's also support@tradewithufos.com, so two different email addresses that you can use to get hold of us. There's also this link, which would be helpful if I bring that up. This link will take you to a place. So it's tradewithufos.com/Becky. From here, you can get different apps and platforms, some of which are free. You can scroll down and you can book one-on-one coaching if you'd like. If you scroll down a little bit further, you can log in for free. And in this area, you'll be able to find a bunch of questions that other people have asked before you, and therefore you might find the answers to the questions you have. Or you could post your own question and therefore do somebody else that favor later down the line. You post a question publicly, we can answer it publicly, and other people get to learn from this area as well. So ideally, that's where you'd go if you have questions. If not, you can email us. So the 3D market commentary, if I bring up the email and the charts. So the 3D market commentary is a video that we do every day, Monday to Friday, to give context to an email that we send out every day, Monday to Friday. Now, in that email, we're looking at major markets, 5 major world markets, and for each of them, we look at 3 different elements. That's why we call it a 3D approach. Now it's relevant to the charts, so we'll have those on the right hand side as well, and we'll go through for each of the major markets what the 3 major elements are telling us in terms of statistical probabilities. So the first thing we look at is something we call market climate. Market climate essentially means what's the likely upcoming market direction. Does it have probabilities to move upwards? Does it have probabilities to move downwards? Or does it have probabilities to not really do much? And we use technology in everything that we do. We use technology for this as well. This is called AutoClimate. It's a free app on most platforms you can get it on. And what it does is it scans through a lot of different data and comes back and tells us where we have that probability. So for example, if we have a thick red dot, ignore the lines by the way, if we have a thick red dot, that tells us probabilities down. If we have a thick blue dot, that tells us probabilities up. If we have a thin dot of either color, that tells us probability is in neither direction. So we're using an app to easily answer that question, what's the more likely upcoming market direction? We'll look at that per market. Then we'll look at buy and sell UFOs. UFO stands for unfilled order in this case. Essentially what it means is, where do we have lots of buyers waiting to buy and where do we have lots of sellers waiting to sell? Why do we want to know that? Because the more buyers we have, the more likely they are to push price up. The more sellers we have, the more likely they are to push price down. So we want to know where these big stacks of buyers and sellers are to help us figure out where we might buy and sell. I just need to squidge price here a little bit so I can show you exactly what I mean. So again, we're looking at buy and sell UFOs. We use technology to help us here as well. We use the Auto UFO app. Now, if we see these little green UFOs with the prices highlighted on the right hand side in green, those show us where buyers are. So again, a point in price where if price were to hit that stack of buyers, it's likely to be pushed up from there. If we see these little red UFOs with the prices in red highlighted on the right hand side, that shows us where lots of sellers are, and therefore again where price would be likely, if they were to hit those, to be pushed down. So we'll look at stacks of buyers and sellers per market as well. Then we'll look at market volatility, which is how quickly we expect markets to move. So we'll look at that per market, starting with the S&P 500, which is the top 500 US stocks. So with the S&P 500, we have a thin dot. Doesn't matter the color. The fact that it's a thin dot on our AutoClimate tells us not enough probability in either direction, an unconfirmed market. It means there's no point doing anything on this time frame. All of the time frames we're looking at, by the way, all of the markets we're looking at are daily charts. So when it comes to a daily chart of the S&P 500, not much to be doing, not clear direction in one way or the other. Now we have buyers here. They are between 44.46.25 to 42.12.75. We have sellers up here at 46.71.75 to 46.06. So if price were to come down and hit these buyers, we would expect that these buyers would push price up at least a little bit. If price were to come up and hit these sellers, we would expect that they might push price down at least a little bit. At the moment, we might hit one of them today, might be the sellers or the buyers, so look out for that. But overall, unconfirmed climate, not really much going on here for the S&P at the moment. When it comes to volatility, we would expect movement up or down in 1 year on this market by 23.08%. So in a day, that's 65.75 points up or down. In a week, 144.74 points up or down. And in a month, 301.3 points up or down. So that's the S&P 500. Now moving on to the next market, which is crude oil. Tell you what I'll do, I'm just going to move this over a little bit, give us a little bit more room to look at the charts. So before I load crude oil, just to point your attention here to the different courses that we offer. We do courses in futures, stocks, forex, backtesting, trading plans, and psychology. Most of our courses come with a 3-month complimentary access to the apps. Auto Climate is a free app on most platforms you can get it on. That's this one here. Auto UFOs, which are these ones showing us where the buyers and sellers are. Depending on which platform you use, depends on the cost, but it is a monthly subscription model to use those apps. Now, you can subscribe directly to the Auto UFOs. You don't have to get a course in order to use them. You can just subscribe directly to them. However, getting a course and getting free access for 3 months is actually normally cheaper overall than it would be to just get the Auto UFOs for 3 months. So check that out, see what works better for you. Okay, so coming back to the market and having a look at crude oil. Now with crude, we have a thick blue dot, probability there to the upside. Thank you there, McAfee. Thick blue dot, probability upwards. So with this market, something to bear in mind, we do have probability upwards, but we have come to the end of what would be a normal move to the upside. So bear that in mind. Doesn't mean it will change. Sometimes we can go way past what's normal, but just to basically reduces the overall probability, but still overall probability is up. Now, in terms of buy and sell UFOs, we don't have any sell UFOs on the chart. We have buy orders a little way below us between 80.47 to 77.83. Not really close to price in order to have an effect on them anytime soon. So overall, probability there to the upside with crude oil. In terms of volatility, we'd expect that crude oil would move up or down in 1 year by 41.86%. So in a day, that's 2.29 points up or down. In a week, 5.05 points up or down. And in a month, 10.5 points up or down. So that's crude oil. Now the next market here is gold. Now just to highlight here about the coaching and support that we offer, we do a bunch of coaching and support for free. You can join us on platforms like YouTube and Facebook and things like that to access our sessions. There's also a small monthly fee to pay for an all asset advanced coaching, which gives you access to more features. But like I said, we do a lot for free anyway. Okay, so with gold, we have thick red dot, probability there to the downside. However, seeing here, we had some buyers here between 1781.3 to 1753. They're still there, but price came down, hit those buyers and went up. That's what we expect buyers to do, is push price up. So we still have probability down at the moment, forces pushing down on this market. But we've got buyers that have recently started to push the price up. So we've got a bit of a fight going on. Now we have sellers here at 1854.2 to 1829.3. So if price were to come all the way up here, we'd expect those sellers might push price back down again. Overall at the moment, if you had to call it, it's slight more probability to the downside, but just be wary of these buyers. Now, in terms of volatility, we'd expect movement up or down in 1 year on gold by 15.66%. So in a day, 17.79 points. In a week, 39.17 points. And in a month, 81.54 points. That's gold. Now, the next market is the US dollar. So let's just load this one. Now, with the US dollar, we currently have a thick red dot probability to the downside. We have buyers a little way away between 95.335 to 95.03. We have sellers a little way away between 97.44 to 97.05. Overall, we're kind of in between these, not really close to either stacks of buyers or sellers. So overall, probability down here coming from the climate to the downside. Now, in terms of volatility, we'd expect movement up or down in 1 year by 6.25%. So in a day, 0.38 points. In a week, 0.83 points. And in a month, 1.74 points, either up or down. Okay, last but not least, we are looking at bakkt Bitcoin. There we go. Now, just to highlight down here about our platform, top stands for Predictive Options Planner. So if you're an options trader, it's an absolutely amazing tool, but it's also great to use if you're a stocks or futures trader as well. You can also use it for analysis if you trade Forex or cryptos. Okay, so bakkt Bitcoin, we have a thick red dot, probability downwards. We have sellers here between 43,590 to 41,362.5. We have buyers down here at 32,820 to 31,650. We're here, not really close to either stacks of buyers or sellers. So again, overall, probability down coming from the climate there, probability to the downside. Now, in terms of volatility, we'd expect that Bitcoin would move up or down in 1 year by 80.79%. So in a day, that's 1,871.46 points. In a week, 4,119.83 points. And in a month, 8,576.11 points. So that is Bitcoin. Now, we've looked at 5 different markets, and for each of them, we've looked at 3 different elements. So if I just load the dollar, just because it's easier to see what's going on this market. So for each of the markets, we've looked at market climate, which is this app down here, auto climate, telling us where the probabilities lie. Was the market likely to go up, down, or nowhere? Did we have a thick red dot telling us probability was down? Did we have a thick blue dot telling us probability was up? Or did we have a thin dot of either color telling us probability was neither direction? So we looked at that per market. Then we looked at buy and sell UFOs. Where do we have buyers? Where do we have sellers that could push price up or down respectively? And market volatility, how quickly did we expect markets to move up or down within 1 year, 1 day, 1 week, and 1 month? So last thing to look at is our weekly economic calendar. We get this from fxstreet.com. We filter by high impact news because we want to know which scheduled news reports are likely to have an impact on the markets that we trade. So today being Thursday, we've already had a bunch of news that would have come out. This is all in US time, Eastern time. So we've already had news right up to here, news out on the pound or on British markets and on European markets or the euro. Still to come today then, to be aware of, is news coming out on the euro at, I think that says 9:30 Eastern, might be 8:30 Eastern, I can't read it very well. And then there's going to be some news that might affect US markets or the US dollar at 10 a.m. Eastern. And if you trade in the Chinese markets, it's Chinese New Year this week, so that might affect those markets as well. Now, if you've got any questions, the best place to go is tradewithufos.com/Becky, because from here you can log in for free, ask a question publicly, we answer it publicly, everybody learns from that same area. From here as well, you can book one-on-one coaching if you like, or you can scroll up to the top and you can get different apps and platforms depending on what works best for you, some of which are free, by the way. Okay, so I will be with you guys tomorrow for another session on this, for another 3D market commentary. In the meantime, hope you have a great trading day today, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.